Okay, you may begin.
Welcome to the Conservation Commission special meeting. Today is Monday, July 28th. It's 12:05 p.m. We're here to discuss some guidance on what the Conservation Commission will provide to the planning board. So this will be kind of just to hash that out, what text we want to use and what type of guidance we would like to provide or make our input known on. So
Okay, and
with that,
Chair, I'm gonna, because I'm a member of the planning board, I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay.
Is this a half an hour meeting?
that's about half. Yeah, that's fine. Might not even be, but the facts will see.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a roll call here. So obviously with John recusing himself, we will be down one member. So why don't we start with Becca?
Rebecca Hastings, member. Your meeting member.
Charles Hastings, member.
Oliver Cotta, member.
That's with its alternate.
Cindy Pecos, alternate. Steph Leck, alternate. Kelly Cannon, alternate.
So we are down one member today, so we'll seat one of our alternates. Is there any alternate that is would prefer to be seated or
Sure.
okay, Cindy Pecos will be our alternate for today. And we'll get on with our business. Okay. Oh, of course, we need to continue our roll call, so. Yeah.
Oh,
Or Cindy, did
We
you?
did,
Okay.
we did.
Oh, did
We finished it all.
Oh, I thought that. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, would one of the alternates like to take minutes today? Steph, would you love to?
Oh.
Well, on your eye thing is fine. It should be very short.
Okay.
It's not gonna, just basically a summary. It's basically going to be a summary of kind of what happens at the meeting. This is, you know, key decisions, if any, that are made. And whatever you write will, you know. That'll work.
The recording's available after the fact too.
Okay.
So yeah, just the key points that somebody who looks at the minutes and see what decisions were made and get an idea of what happened at the meeting. Now, it's not a transcription or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for doing that. All right, so let's get on with our first order of business, our only order of business, which is to discuss the guidance that the Conservation Commission would like to provide to the planning board in reference to the Waterville Valley Outdoor Adventure Zone, the proposed Waterville Valley Outdoor Adventure Zone. So why don't we kick off the conversation based on the email that was sent out providing you with different options. We all certainly know what Charles wrote, got us started, he got us kicked off for the last meeting. That has been amended by Cliff to include some additional text, including the executive summary. Okay, here it took the text and put it through some artificial intelligence to come up with a summary of kind of what it says, the key points. So the point here of this meeting is to kind of adopt some of the text that we want to apply. So it can be adopted in full, in part with some edits, whatever. So maybe we can start Charles to discuss like what he had written, then Cliff can go with the edits that he was thinking of, and the things we want to keep in mind regarding this guidance is, you know, is it understandable? Is it, you know, that's a critical part. Is it, are all the items that are in here within the purview of the Conservation Commission? Are we saying things that, you know, we actually have a say over? Is the critical, one of the critical pieces. And the other thing I guess would be is, you know, do these recommendations have any teeth? Are they enforceable? Can we follow, you know, modify them if we need to, those types of things. So Charles, maybe you can give us a summary.
Oh, okay, I guess I'll start then.
Since you wrote the initial document.
All right, so the document that I prepared for our last meeting. I actually revised some of the wording, so it fit within one page. I organized it so that the first part, and there were a lot of quoted passages in it. That was because I was trying to justify everything we did and said based on something either in town documents or the state definition of what planning boards is supposed to do. So that was how I structured it. I tried to present something that I thought would be useful to the planning board. I empathize a great deal with members of the planning board. I've been to several sessions discussing it, attending, watching and discussing. I can imagine they have a great difficult task trying to decide what to do and how to justify it. So I was trying to give them advice from a body which is officially supposed to advise them on such issues that they might find useful. Now, I actually, I have to say, when I read through these, I found some useful things in each alternative version, much to my dismay and surprise. In many ways, I liked the executive summary. That was prepared by you, Cliff? Okay, I wasn't sure. It's nice and succinct and captures a lot. I'm undecided whether that's the way to go or not. I like some of the additions. Some of them might, if we wish to discuss it. Well, the problem with some of the additions is it makes the document longer than I had tried to make it. Okay, if we come to discussing it, I'm not going to argue in favor of recommending a wildlife impact study for various reasons, although I can understand why that might be an appropriate thing. I like the input here on concerns about lighting, concerns about various things that were brought up to be added to it. Finally, the second option 2, which was submitted by Eric and her machine, ChatGPT, some entity that does these things. It does rather succinctly hit on key points, but I guess I chose not to favor that one because I think the planning board, if a one-page document is too long for them to read, then that would not be a favorable view of planning board members. And I actually think the planning board, although I've heard people ranting and raving about the planning board, I think they're all well-intended, trying to do a good job and trying to wrestle with difficult decisions. So I'm not striving to condense it as far as this rather succinct version did. I don't know how I'm going to vote on this, so I welcome other input.
But did you want to give maybe a summary of like kind of when you read Charles?
I thought it was spot on. So it was just pretty neat because there's somebody which doesn't push it beyond that one page. And I was like, oh yeah, it's back and forth. You want to have a little bit more substance, a little bit right at the front in order to highlight succinctly our key points, particularly the public debate. So just look at it quickly and say, okay, this is the gist. And then there was more just explaining along.
So we would combine both then, the executive summary plus the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly. But then it does push it down, which I did like with the touch.
But it does have a summary.
It does have something. Yeah.
Maybe not a good idea.
So I think that I have a lot of the same, when I read it, I came up with some of the same concerns as Charles, especially in terms of a wildlife study, because I wasn't exactly sure what that really was or what that was really. That's a thing, how they're conducted, like what the overall framework is for that. So I was a little unsure of that, but that was my main like point that wasn't given to me. I'm not opposed to leaving it in, or we could advocating that it necessarily be removed or whatever, but I did find that to be a little bit open-ended and wasn't sure exactly what that was. Other than that, I felt that, most of the items that were in here, that Cliff had added are, they definitely, reiterate a lot of the points that Charles made. And I think that, they bring it down to kind of a more, actionable approach, I think. So I am generally in favor of the additions that Cliff made. But that's kind of my take on it. As far as the ChatGPT version, I think if we were dealing with a situation where everyone was aware of all the factors, and we could do this at a very succinct level, that would be appropriate. But I think in this case, I would agree with Charles that having it spelled out and more like detailed language, I think is useful in this case.
One thing I'll add, and I think one of Cliff's additions reminded me of this. The state document that defines what conservation commissions do and are supposed to be responsible for. It includes not only protecting natural resources, but it also has something in there about providing a vehicle for public input on natural resources. And it's one of Cliff's additions, somewhere that is specified, providing a vehicle for further input. I wasn't quite sure how that would be done or what the planning board would do with it. But it might be good that even after we've had open hearings, there has been public input. There's been a lot of public input through Facebook and so forth. But maybe the planning board will think of some way that Powerwell can continue to receive feedback from the community. I don't know how that would work, but if we could encourage that, that would be in keeping with our role of protecting resources and providing vehicles for public input.
Are you thinking like public input on the conservation commission's goals or tasks or what they're responsible for?
Input.
Or more just general input?
It was for this statement that we're submitting. When was that? Isn't that something that you would add? Maybe it was in the summary. In words of sin.
About the public input, additional.
Here it is, in the executive summary. Opportunities for continued public input will help ensure this development aligns with the national plan. So that was nice. So it's in the summary. And I think that's appropriate for this organization to encourage that.
And I think you keep it brief, or you can remove the recommend that allow the index that could work environmental impact, could be just environmental text. Which I'm sure.
Well, we have a question here. Sorry to interrupt. I keep getting reminded that this is private land that they're building on. So how much can we impress upon them? Zoning. Right, so we're spending all this time talking about what we can say. I don't know if they need to read all this stuff. It's not going to affect anything. Zoning might.
I think that it's important that the conservation states what they feel. That's what this board is about. That's what this board is asked to do in favor of the planning board. And I think what's put here, and I like the inclusions of the RSAs and the articles in the master plan, all of that. I think that's extremely supportive of what we say as a conservation commission to have the planning board look at it. Yes, the only thing that we can do is zoning. It's a C1 zone.
So we're basically giving them our opinion.
But I think they need to hear that opinion.
Yeah.
And I think the planning board should state their opinion.
It's an advisory opinion too, right? I think as a conservation commission, we have a diligence to exactly, be the voice, be the Lorax, if you will. And then give that to the planning board, and then like, it is important to keep in mind that it's private land and commercial zoning. But to, you know, like, point out these, all of these, the quotes that Charles mentioned, as well as some reasoning for it, as an advisory statement.
I mean, for us as a conservation commission, looking at Cochran's Pond and runoff, you know, with whatever they decide to do, that's an impact, that's a snap town-owned property. That's not owned by them, that's owned by us. I think that's important. That it be said.
But likewise with the bike commission.
Yep.
So many people come in, it's pretty well known that Susan Hayes for an amazing start.
And they don't own the stars.
So we could talk about dark skies in this.
Right.
Will the project have lighting?
Right,
think
so the
that's-
dark sky is mentioned.
It is mentioned.
Okay.
There's a whole sheet,
Then that's good.
and the sheet actually says that they are striving to honor the dark skies.
Okay.
But what I wondered about, and I'm out of my depth on this, although there are various statements such as that, that it's going to try to be dark skies compliant, that it will not operate in the evening. I wonder if there's a way that the planning board can attach as a restriction for their approving this, that indeed it not be operated at night, and that it indeed must be dark skies compliant. Because just having that in the plan doesn't mean that they're going to not change it sometime 5 or 10 years from now. If it's sort of written in as an attachment to the zoning board approval, then would that not prevent such change? I don't know. Do we need to break? I don't know. Is this significant?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Tyrell intends for this to be dark skies compliant. At this point, I think they intend to operate in the daytime. I think if the planning board's going to approve it, they should require that they stick to that. Because who knows what will happen down the road.
So I think that the general points that are made are within the sort of the guidance that one would expect from the Conservation Commission, so I don't think there's anything like too objectionable there or too prescriptive. I think it's just a reminder of the Conservation Commission would like to see these things addressed by the planning board in final analysis. And the only thing I would say too, one other minor thing, is that in the idea of making it more sort of not so how would you say, rigid or whatever, I would just say, like, instead of using the word will, maybe we change that to may.
Where
Like, you know, things like the removal of mature trees, it says will fragment, you know, and maybe we change that to like may fragment, you know, so it's not quite as prescriptive, exactly. So that's kind of, maybe a couple edits in there like that are of that nature, but in general, I think the content is pretty spot on with what the Conservation Commission goals should be.
So what about this states that we recommend, we, the Conservation Commission, we recommend that a wildlife impact study be conducted.
I mean, you could say considered, if we wanted to leave that wildlife impact study, so rather than be conducted, be considered, something like that nature. Or take it out altogether.
Take it out.
Take it.
6 days.
I'll just take it.
It's a small piece of land.
Yeah.
It's not small to the rodents and the small critters that live there, but I don't know. No, honestly, I don't know.
Chipmunks.
No, I don't want to be
Okay,
seen as being too extreme. Yeah, but reduce.
we can leave the previous sentence in there, Charles, because that
Yeah,
covers it as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that, you know, without prescribing any formal. Yeah. That's really what I like to do, same thing.
Do we know what their hours of operation will be? Do we have any idea?
I don't know, we don't do like that. Summer, it's gonna be summer. Not gonna run in the winter.
But they'll run it in the fall, I'm sure. My other concern was, you know, maintaining it and having it
Yes,
keep looking like it's taken care of and it's brand new.
right.
And it doesn't become the default of the town having to take care of it by removal. And I'm hoping that the planning board has got that in the situation.
Well, that is suggested in this, that they be aware of that, and
I think it's important.
They included some things here, I guess, in the summary. Maintenance and providing for removal if necessary.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that.
I like
that too.
Yeah.
Um, and in fact, I've talked to James about colors and he said that they indeed have no intention of using fluorescent pink and or natural colors. And that they would use things that, so.
When you were talking about materials, local, do you mean want them to be green LEED certified or anything like that?
Well, I think as natural as possible, if they reduce the plastic use. Would be ideal. Plastic bleaching, but also from the visual
Yeah.
perspective, we're trying to have a little natural to this environment if possible. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, it's something that I think we need to figure out ways to stimulate.
Sure.
Tourism
Yes.
to our community.
Yeah.
But I do think we wanted to blend into this harmonious environment that's around. It's not this thing that just sits out, and when I looked at the sketches of these blue plastic panels,
Yes.
they make them brown and with natural materials.
So on that topic, Cliff, would you be opposed to saying we recommend the use of natural construction materials wherever possible?
Yeah.
As opposed to only natural materials?
Right.
Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
And many of these things, nowadays, they are made with recycled PVC and other things too, right? So they do have some of the decking and so on, is much more, environmentally sensitive. Okay, so that would, again, kind of take out the more prescriptive, and replace it with a little gentler language.
Yes.
So let's keep it going. What do we think?
Well, there's someone in the motion, so.
Well, we have some edits. We can definitely go over some of those things that we like.
Paul, would you mind if I just added one topic? Did you notice if the new plans, when they scaled back from the tree to the 45-foot
Right.
structure, also included an elevator?
I did not notice that, no.
Because I remember with the larger,
They're just talking about something to
yeah,
get people up.
and I would just maybe advise you to consider some type of a hydraulic oil spill containment plan or something to see that if that elevator fails, if it's still in the plan and we have a massive leak of hydraulic oil going into the ground or Corcoran's Pond, if there's some type of a remediation around that.
I mean, I think we could probably add a sentence that would say that should chemical devices or hydraulic.
Yeah,
devices that a remediation plan should be in.
I just can't recall if the 45-foot rope structure also had an elevator or not.
I thought that was mostly stairs, but.
Is it?
That was like stairs in the center of it,
Stairs too.
but that supposedly is off the table right now.
The larger one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
But I didn't know about the elevator too much. I hadn't heard about
The
that.
larger one had to have an elevator because they were providing some sort of a viewing platform, something at the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they would have been required to have a way to get people up there.
Yes.
The smaller one, I don't know, I couldn't find out much about it.
This is, they need to, is there some, look at where we climbed up above the Rhine, there was no elevator there, and that's probably 4 times the height of this one, so is that a US record?
It's a big US.
It would be required.
I don't know.
I think we have an ADA requirement or something.
Can I ask a question? Are they submitting a new revised plan again? No.
Uh, there have been multiple versions being updated. I don't know what the last one was, but I think the planning board had requested various updates and changes at their last meeting, that they would be completed before their next meeting, and I think Carol said that would be no problem, if they would have anything updated in by early August, is that right?
I believe that's the course of action. Yeah. I'd be happy to bring down what we have if you want to take a quick peek at it, but
I don't know, I don't know that there was substantial changes. It's,
Based on the recommendations that the planning board had made to them. I'm wondering if the plans had changed. At the last meeting that the planning board had and said, these are the points we want to address the planning board. Whether it went forward and they have to submit a plan. I know they're outlining the area, putting the balloon up for height and all that. But I don't know if there's something that's coming in to substantiate the requirements that were made by the planning board. That's my concern.
Maybe we should look at the plan at some point, as you know it, like maybe later,
Mhm.
like. And we can decide if we want to add a sentence, to that nature,
Sure.
maybe that of oil containment or remediation plan.
I think there was some consideration for, the planning board having an on-site visit, possibly after its next scheduled meeting.
I saw James on the bridge last week with the surveyor. So I'm sure they're starting to plot the place that this is going to be. But I haven't been in that wood area at all.
And in fact, one of the, I think, requests of the planning board was that, various sort of visualizations be provided to the planning board of what this will actually look like. That could be what the surveyor was looking.
They were trying to, aren't they trying also to keep some of the older trees in there?
They said they would, well, some of the trees, depending on what
What it is, yeah.
what is determined to be healthy and survivable.
The, on a different topic, we're okay with this one for now, the audible component here, it's about the noise. How do people feel about that noise? Is it, do you think it's something that needs to be considered? Is it, no? Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely, I can hear.
I mean, in terms of like the bands, you know, like we have the bands and.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, the bands, the weddings that go on and all that, it's already, there's noise, I'm just thinking that this really, like,
I've
how
been
does this
on the
noise
zip lines
compare to,
Out in the woods at Lincoln,
Mhm.
not the one in the center of town, but out there. Screaming our heads off.
Yeah.
Because we're zooming and we're so high.
Okay, so most people are in favor of leaving that, concerning that.
You want to make a comment about that?
I mean, I was just looking at it, my comment is like, I mean,
How many people can this facility accommodate?
We don't know.
so I guess my concern was, you know, is the noise of this. How does it compare to the existing noise levels of bands and everything else? And are we making too much
Good
of a,
point.
a-
Lawnmowers.
are we making too much of a,
Yeah.
you know?
Weed whackers.
Weed whacker.
I think it depends on the time of operation too.
Mhm.
If it's a agreeable time or reasonable time
Right.
of day, that would be different. My concern is the cost. But once somebody goes on at once, are they gonna come back for a repetitive thing? If they've done it and found out, it's okay, or yeah, it's great. I don't know.
I don't know if the Conservation Commission can chime in on that aspect of it, but yeah, but no, I'm just, my concern is I guess we're just to bring up points of discussion would be the noise, if this is a reasonable concern or not, given that we do have bands and other activities and things like that that generate noise already, does this add to that? Is it detrimental, you know, is it?
I think that we
Great.
could advise that it stayed within the town noise ordinance.
Yeah.
Like, no construction work or maintenance or anything will happen outside of those prescribed hours.
Not because they weren't open to sharing some of that. They probably know it's done. In order to determine if this is the best way to work. They expect you to have a thousand people with it. 100 people there. That'll be a big difference. in cafe noise.
Correct. Right.
And I mean, when we talk about this adventure center, I know myself, I think mostly about the zip lines and all that, but we've also got the maze, we've got the golf course, we've got the biking. That's all going to be in the center town now, and the cafe, which will be a part of that building.
What do you mean by biking, sorry?
All the adventure centers, cross-country skiing and biking are moving into that building that is on the plan.
Which is moving it away from the center of town.
Moving it away from the center of town, but closer to the, yeah. Closer.
Into it. It's
Yeah,
actually
into
part
it,
of the
right.
adventure.
Yeah.
So are most people inclined to leave the noise language? It sounds like it.
Where was the noise?
The noise language is right here, the impacts may be audible.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
I wrote it.
yes, yep.
I think we need to have a sentence about this because the public will be concerned. I know the public, there is public concern. I don't know how significant this might be in terms of, but we should, as an advisory body, should raise that as a concern.
I guess something to consider is, like volume or decibels, like if they're gonna be having like pump up party music playing. You know, is that gonna be like, they're blaring through town all day long?
That's,
Super
that's
disruptive.
a bigger
Yeah.
concern than the children.
Yes, like
screaming
joyful
because they're
screaming,
having
that's,
fun. Me,
Yeah.
I'd rather hear them having fun than, as I said before, lawnmowers and weed whackers, right?
We find
It's
it hard to use it.
really bad. I know, that would be, yeah.
All right, so let's just leave that alone then for now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about compliance with the only concern about compliance with the noise ordinance, which I think is valid. But during the day, that's not, there's no real
No,
noise ordinance
it's not.
in effect, you know, it's only after hours, which they've already.
Yeah.
Be operating at that time, so I think probably leaving it generic noise concern is, like you say, with some blasting music or whatever it might be, who knows? Obviously, kids screaming, I don't think most of the big concern provided they're screaming for happy. Multiple times. Okay.
Playground.
All right,
Yeah.
so, anybody else have any comments on it? Do you like the flow of the document? Do you like the, okay, so we could make a few editorial changes with respect to less prescriptive. Or I guess less directive, more soften that language a little bit where possible. So I think with that, we could probably go ahead and look carefully through the document. I could do those edits and then distribute them through Steve. And then if everybody's good with that, that could be our submission to the, we could have I guess we'll make it into a memo form to the planning board. Is that how we want to do that?
Perfect.
With an executive summary, and maybe on the first page, and then try to fit the other stuff on the next page.
Is, in the last paragraph, is that okay? I added the last paragraph because I was trying to find some way to encourage the planning board to attach some restrictions.
This is on the, you're referring to the plantings.
We worded the specifications.
I really like that.
I do too.
Okay, yeah, I personally really like it.
We worded-
Okay,
And
It's on the back of your second page.
Yeah.
there.
And actually, I thought of something afterwards. It says here, we urge that sufficient conditions be attached to minimize negative effects on natural resources and to ensure that Corcoran Pond remains a visual icon so treasured by those who visit or live, and I think or work in Waterville Mountain, because, a lot of people don't live here, don't necessarily visit as visitors, but they work here daily. And we are representing their interests as well. So how we can have that, who visit or live or work. Just two more words.
And it's free, would you prefer?
Signs for that.
I think it's good.
Well, honestly, I'm the first one to object to cutting trees down anywhere, because I don't know how many hundreds I've planted in my life. And I don't know how, once they start building anything in there, how realistic it is to put, how much of that can be protected, how much of that would be a threat to anything that's still, that they build. The town cuts down trees all the time, but then they fall on the building. They're too close, so I don't know, and I don't know, I'm not knowledgeable enough to say how healthy all of those trees are. The one that I like the most, the big one, which is a very strange, I don't know if an arborist would say that should stay or go. And, I'm not gonna, I don't think we should make an issue about it. We want to try to protect that character of that part of the town. And, that's important.
Would they be able to keep a buffer?
There's no room for it.
But they're teaching, misleading, to try to do as much, but.
Yeah, but they are leaving the little strip between the cross-country trail and the water. They're not gonna touch that. But there's really not, it's not very wide, and there really isn't much there already. And the part above that, much of that's going to have to go if they're gonna build anything.
It'd be nice if they could preserve some of that, so as you drive in.
You
the
see
valley,
the forest.
And when I first looked into this, I thought, why can't they just move the whole thing 50 feet back?
Yeah.
But they cannot do that if they wish to go ahead with other parts of their big plan. There's just not room for it. And I don't know that the planning board is going to be in a position to really recommend that they move it in a certain direction.
On the, one last thing, I think I found something minor, along this prescriptive note, long-term monitoring of water quality. I think the water quality is already monitored from what I understand, so maybe just like continued monitoring water quality. That's all it's.
Should there be a word about, like, not just monitoring the water quality, but having accountability to? That's one thing to like monitor
Are you
it.
talking about Crawford Pond water?
Yeah, it says that.
Well, it's, not in their jurisdiction, is it? Towns, and we do it. Town does it.
State,
Right?
state,
State, but it's not resort.
correct.
So you're going to like monitor water quality in relation to the structure and have a responsibility.
We could tone it down a bit, so it's basically continued monitoring with the idea that it's.
Yeah, it's up to the town's enforcement to make sure that paint isn't dropped into the pond or anything like that. That's what they're referring to.
You referring to what we saw?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, oh.
I would, yeah, maybe like
Milton-
continued monitoring to make sure that no adverse effects.
What happens
Something.
if it's? Like what happens in that case? Like we already had the advisory, so like not swim. What if we keep getting more things?
No, probably they will, because the pond is getting
Shallow.
shallower, the
Shallow.
water is getting warmer, and you're gonna have bacteria. So,
And that,
That's what I'm not.
The ducks.
ducks, yeah, and
Other
dogs.
center.
How many beavers do we have upstream?
Where's genuine meter?
Ducks, yeah. They start talking about stuff, shit.
Oh, boy.
That might be,
All their friends are gonna be.
Do you need emotions?
Um, I don't think we do. I think we got enough guidance to go, but I assume everybody's, I think we made a motion at the last meeting to come up with guidance, so I think this is kind of a follow-up on it, so we all agreed that we are doing the guidance. So I think we just,
It can't hurt, Paul, if you want to do a motion to have the wording with the amended edits
Do
to
that.
be sent forth to the planning board, that would be appropriate, yeah.
Conservation Commission, submit to the planning board an advisory statement, incorporating, numerous edits discussed at today's meeting. And that this be submitted to the planning board as our, in our advisory class.
I second.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so I will work on getting these edits in. Okay, I will then distribute it, give it to Steve, final distribution. I will be leaving on Wednesday afternoon for some time away. So I will turn it over to Charles, who will then make sure it gets into the hands of the planning. That sounds like a good plan.
When is the planning board meeting, Steve?
8:14, I believe.
So we will try to get that in. I mean,
Oh,
it can't
is that
wait.
the
It
decision?
could wait.
I believe they have until the 22nd or 23rd to make their final decision.
But their next meeting is the
14th.
and that's when they plan to deliberate heavily on it.
So it'd be nice to get it in before the 14th.
Yeah.
But if they are gonna have a site visit afterwards, they may not want to vote on it. We should get our.
We should get it to them.
Site visit should be around.
I don't know. I didn't know when the site visit was. I thought it was around the 2nd, but I guess I'm wrong.
Second or seventh, I don't know.
Not
Yeah, I
sure.
thought it was like around the 7th. That's what I thought, because that was one of the reasons why
Before the meeting.
we wanted to get it in before that.
Sure. If you-
Otherwise, we could
got it.
definitely wait till I get back otherwise, but I think the idea was to get it in before that.
And Steve, once we're ready to submit this, I would forward the final version to whom, what instructions, to you, to,
Would you mind if you have Alicia's contact information to send it to both her and I? Just in case one of us is out, we'll still have it available.
submit electronic copies to the different members, or how does that?
We, more than likely, we would submit the copy to the chair in preparation for his agenda.
Okay.
So he can include it on the 14th agenda and include it in correspondence as well, so that the members can take a look at it prior to their meeting. So safely by, what would that Monday be? 8/11?
Yeah, we might want to do it just before if there is something on the 7th.
I just don't know if they're gonna want to look at correspondence at a site visit or not, but
That's right.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, as soon as you get done, then
Go over it, yeah.
I'll.
All right, I think we have a plan to proceed. So, which good? Anything else? All right, I think that concludes our agenda for today. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion to adjourn by Eric.